Story time, guys. All right, we're ready. Okay.
All right.
Just let me know when you're rolling, Adele.
Yep.
We have 4 books in the Bible called the Gospels, and we find stories about people. Stories about people in their different situations. Some we get a lot of details about, some we don't. I think the point is that the gospel reaches people where they are and is able to change our situation. It's able to give perspective and challenge us to accept God into every space of our lives. Not Ready is a snapshot of a part of my journey. So for me, this is the gospel of Naomi Raine, where Jesus stepped in and in my darkest and lowest points, in some of my joyous moments, you know, and showed himself to be God.
Let's just be honest, Jesus, I'm a mess. Can't seem to fill this void of emptiness.
Ooh, that's dope.
That's crazy.
So you kind of don't even catch the tempo yet.
Different time, yeah.
And hold that for 2 bars instead of 1. 1, 2, 3, tap.
We have to remember the humanity of Jesus in order to understand the fullness of his sacrifice. It was important for me to almost invite people into the full story. I think we can take a moment from a person's life or a song on an album and think that that's the whole story about an artist or a person, and that's just not true. I think that there is so much more, and you only get that when you get to peer in and take the ride. Watch the whole movie, you know, like don't just watch a scene. I think that more is found out on the journey.
Stuck in between what was and what could be. I'm so afraid to lose the image they see. And I don't even know what's happening to me. I need you, I need you.
I am Naomi, and I love Jesus, and I make music, and I'm discovering who I am. I think that when God asked Adam where he was, of course he knew where Adam was. I definitely think God is still asking, where are you? I don't know who I am. I do know, but I'm just still discovering. Yeah. I think there are moments where we kind of slip back into the mindset of this world, the fallenness and the fallen nature, and just that mentality. And I think that when that happens, and when we're trying to hide and when we're trying to cover ourselves, which we've been trying to do since, you know, Adam and Eve ate of that fruit, I think God will ask us questions to help us realize where we are, to help us recognize how far we've fallen, or that we're kind of not where we need to be. You know, I feel like it's a wake-up call. And I think God does that in situations that there are some like great teachers that can ask you a question that actually get you to think. It gets you to dig deeper and to really assess your situation, look around like, oh man, where am I? My mom is a therapist and a mental health counselor. So she would come home and she'd be like, no, these are signs that you have anxiety. And it'd be like 7 out of 10 of them is what I was going through. And I'd be like, no, I got the mind of Christ. I'm not anxious. Nothing is wrong. I was that person. And it used to like boil my blood when she would start talking about anxiety. And I'm like, I am not anxious. I am anxious for nothing. In all things, making prayer and supplication before God. Like I was just like quoting scriptures, but I wasn't actually living the scriptures I was trying to quote. It took me a few years to accept, oh snap, this is anxiety.
I'm afraid that this anxiety is killing me. I've been trying to believe that there is nothing wrong with me. Everybody says I'm strong, but they can't really see. I'm hiding my emotions, but they show up in my dreams.
I almost want to say, like, I'm just going to keep on walking. Like, I'm just going to keep on going. I'm just going to keep on going. Like, I'm not going to worry about anything else. I'm just going to keep on going. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, no, I just like, you hear like keys jingling, like as you like walking through the halls. Be cool.
No, it would be so cool. I think it would blend because, like, all the songs are kind of like, they all have these kind of like tail ends. Like every song is a journey. And I was saying, like, literally this time is the only one that seems very like it's a song. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a song. But I love it too because the what it's saying is like, nope, I'm facing the music. Like I'm doing it. So it matches the heart of it. The stories that I've heard about myself from other people are more like, you're the good one. That's like in Maverick. It's like, you're the good one. You have a pure worship, and which I'm not sad about, but I think sometimes even labels like that can be weighty because you're trying to live up to something that's really not true. People's expectations, other stories, you know, like, you're such a great mom, and it's more like positive things, which I think are true, but those are things that I struggle with and battle with in and of myself, you know, trying to be a good mom to my children. And so I'm that person that's like, I don't like absolute statements, you know, because it becomes, it's like, well, what about this? And then this could disprove all this other stuff. I want to do something with that.
And every day I grind away, make the dream a reality. But every night I'm in a fight, sleeping, grinding my teeth. I try to pray, take it away, all the stress and the busyness, but I just can't stop saying yes.
What is real? I think real is authentic, because I think honesty can be dangerous if there's too much of it. And vulnerability. There are so many songs. I feel like the album is in sections too. So like the first part is like, I'm sad and I don't know what's happening, and like kind of just settled in some of the dysfunction. The middle kind of gets to some like love songs and like relationship stuff, and in the end it's kind of like Jesus is cleaning me up and like dealing with my stuff and coming to grips with the things. So the other day a friend was like, you know, you're not super like approachable, and I'm like, what? I'm mega approachable. I'm oodles of fun. But I had to really realize that for some people, I think because I'm okay being myself, and if I'm not in a cheery mood, if I'm just kind of chill, I have no problem like just being that way with people that might not be secure enough to be with someone who's just like I can sit in the car like this and be fine. And people will think you're upset. I'm not upset. I'm just chilling. Like there's nothing to talk about.
I'm facing the music, won't lose my mind, he's walking me through this.
So having people in my life that would listen and take the time to hear me express my feelings, sit with me in it, and then I could move forward, that was very helpful for me. Things are gonna get better, better, but this time, I'm facing the music. Yep. Because I'm sick of it. Oh, breaking up. Oh, poor connection. Oh, the video will resume automatically when the connection improves. Oh, Taylor. Oh. Oh, reconnecting. Oh. Oh no. Will we ever reconnect?
If I feel away, I'll be okay. Even if I feel away, I'll be okay. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Oh, yes, I will. Yes, I will. Sing it. Yes, I will. Yes, I know I'm gonna be okay.
So here's the thing. The danger in honesty is that people can judge you based on how much you've shared. I think that when you're dealing with an emotional space or a mental space that doesn't seem to let up, you know, like it's one thing to think or be sad like for a moment, and then that dissipates, and then a few days or months pass, and then maybe it comes back. But when it's kind of like constant and it's the prevailing thought, I think you can start to believe like, oh no, like maybe I won't be okay. Maybe this is how I'll spend the rest of my life.
84.
Oh, but the timing was different.
You got a quarter adapter?
So
You got a 1/4-inch adapter? Yeah.
I would just say try to
Where?
like lock it that da,
we
da,
need
na,
a different
na, 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 na. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'm grappling with my issues, and maybe I'm learning to actually just accept what is and go into it and be like, okay, so then if it needs to flood, let it flood. If the bad things have to happen, let it happen, because all is fair in love and war. People are ashamed of the truth. We actually want to be the heroes. Like, we want it. And I think one of the reasons that people don't share is because there is this joy and almost satisfaction that we get from looking like we have it together.
Held our breath for far too long. Inhale, exhale, found our song. Faith unbroken, hope still strong. We fight, we rise.
I want an unbiased opinion.
Okay.
First of all, everybody in this room is gonna keep it 100, no matter what. They don't care they ain't on sides.
Fuck, yeah.
So, all right, the original lyric that we had was, maybe not everything's fair in love and war, right? And the next line is, sometime, what if the flood was because when it rains, it pours? World on Fire really cooked for a long time. I first heard it from Ryan in the beginning of the pandemic, like right after George Floyd. Oh no, I think it was Ahmaud Arbery. I feel like after that, he released that song, like the first little snippet of it.
The second I think you had it on this last one, but the energy was a little less. So give me that same to try to match it with the one that you did on the high.
Okay. Just the faith unbroken, hope still strong.
Yep.
And so for me, I was like, oh, this thing moves me. Like, it was watching the news. It was going out and marching. It was, you know, making sure that I was vocal about this injustice that we were all seeing, and really just how our country was responding. Some of the people, it was a lot for me. And so for me, I was just trying to make sure I was in the world, because in my life, my world was always bigger than the outside world. But for that moment, the outside world became important.
Outside and the world is on fire. Outside and the world is on fire. Outside, everything's burning up. Cop cars and the cardboard stuff.
But a little later, when we actually started to work on the song, I was dealing with the effects of the pandemic And I mean, we've never been through this before. This is the first time we've ever been through a pandemic. Everybody living, right, for the most part, has been through something like this. And so we're starting to see the aftermath of these quarantines and people losing their jobs and the economy going the way it's going. And for me personally, I saw my career skyrocketed in the midst of the pandemic. I had to deal with like almost survivor's remorse, you know, and some of that guilt. And so when I wrote this, it's weird to be in your house and come on YouTube and then your face is on there, because that's the most popular video for your community at the time. That's weird to be home and everybody's just DMing each other and texting, and you're constantly getting texts about how what you're doing is helping people, and I'm so grateful, you're bringing me through, but there's nothing really bringing you through. I had to navigate being up when mostly everybody was down and not almost apologize for it, because it's like we benefited off of people's pain. And I realized that most of that is not fully true. That was a me thing, because God was using us. We were worshiping. That's what we love to do. And we were doing it for a God that we loved. And we were able to offer people hope at a time that they needed it the most. Can we take like 2 more takes straight through, and then we can go and like kind of piece it?
And punch.
Is that how you work best? How do you work best? No,
Yeah.
we
Compared
could
to, like,
do
what
we
y'all
could
would
do
do.
it again if you want. I don't.
Everybody looked at me like it was a CLA vocal.
I am. I love that. We ain't trying to start a riot, but oh, it's really so. But that's in reference to the riots. So this is like giving context for why people would set something on fire, because it's like this is not working and it's a drastic thing. And then in the second verse is more about relationship. It's about like your inner home turmoil.
Inside and my world is on fire. Inside and my world is on fire. Inside everything's burning up. Going through in my mind's
And so it's kind of like sometimes you have to just end stuff, you know? So that first line was maybe not everything's fair in love and war. Then we were thinking about changing it to maybe that's why all is fair in love and war. Which one of those lines actually goes with what we're saying more?
I think the first joint. One, I feel like when we attach it to religion, it feels like there's this entitlement, which we should have, because God has provided for us. But at the same time, it's like it doesn't mean that everything's fair. Like you're still gonna lose people. You're still gonna lose marriages. Like things aren't gonna go the way that it's supposed to go. But God's still God.
But I would argue that when that's why they say all is fair in love and war.
That's the difference between God being fair and him being just. Like everything is not always fair, but he's always just. And I think that's why it's not always fair in love and war, but he's still just.
Maybe not everything's fair in love and war. What if the flood was because when it rains it pours?
I know for me, I've had to become, like as I've faced different things in my life, I've had to be okay to become who the Lord was calling me to become, and be okay to let the old me die. That was the moment, that was me setting it on fire, right? And starting again and praying and hoping that the people that know me and love me would still know me and love me.
Maybe not everything's fair in...
Why are you doing this to me?
Because this is good times. Good times.
No.
Hey, hey.
That's why I'm nice.
Good
I have
times.
to be like, hey.
No.
Hi.
You're like, hey.
Hey, y'all. All right.
It's Naomi Raine.
Nuh-uh. Hey, y'all. It's Naomi Raine of Maverick City Music. That's how I'm going to be.
Tonight's just...
That's scary when you realize, wait, I've been pretending all these years, and now I'm going to have to reintroduce myself to people. And the way I sneakily did it, I didn't even do it like, hey, guys, like, I'm new. It was just kind of like, I'm new and I'm sneaking in. I'm just gonna sneak in and hopefully nobody notices. That can be scary. And I think that a lot of my relationships struggled at first because people didn't understand what was going on. And I was very concerned, like, oh no, I could lose everybody that I actually hold dear.
Count the cost.
Ooh, very nice. All right, let me stack that.
We tried. Life goes on. Inside my world is on fire.
I grew up thinking, believing that everything was gonna be okay. I'm gonna be good. It'll work out. I'll have enough money, but I still have that. I think somewhere in the course of life, I lost sight of that. There are two moments that I remember being catalytic. Is that a word? Anyway, all I know is I was in prayer. I was praying, and I was praying a really nice prayer. And the Lord was like, okay, but when are you going to actually tell me how you feel about it? Like, you've told me everything I can do and how you're going to stand and have faith and believe. But he was like, I want you to be real with me. Like, you still have a loincloth on in my presence. That was the moment that I was like, oh, okay, he's actually about to take me on a journey.
I avoid the grit of life, the responsibility and fight, and my garbage pile so high. Oh.
I think that when people know things, they have a choice to make. They can either use what they know to love or be afraid. And so, and choose fear. I hope that makes sense. Like, the things that you know, based on what you know, you have to make a choice. Am I going to love myself, others, the world, whatever? Or am I going to choose fear and operate from that place?
Paper plates.
Oh, I never knew, no, I never knew why. Let me do it again. You are recording?
I was just waiting to see what you were gonna add.
So you can't crumple that paper while we recording. Come on, let's do the song.
I'm gonna talk about it later.
I am grateful though. I haven't lived in such a way where I've had a bunch of secrets. I've always kind of been out with how I feel. I'm very vocal. And what I've been like walking through. And so I've never been afraid that I was gonna really get like gotcha caught out there. But it was because I had lived a life that was pretty much like, I'm gonna correct myself before anybody can correct me. Y'all want me to be excited about stuff I'm not excited about. I don't get excited about stuff until after. Like tonight, I'm gonna go home and probably cry. But like, in the moment, I'm not like, oh, like maybe when I get there, I'll be excited. I'm just hoping somebody will show up. Because that's a real thing in my mind. At the end of 2020, in November of 2020, the Lord told me to go to therapy. He was like, you need to go to counseling for what's coming next year. And I didn't understand it. I didn't know, but I did. And I went to therapy and I started setting some goals. And as I set the goals, this stuff just started. He started to work on me and chip away at old things and my choices, my reasoning, my logic, all the things.
I won't circle to find a parking spot. I'd rather just pull into a lot. Who cares about the money spent? Living in the moment. So
in real life, I am a flight person. I would rather not engage in the fight. But because I have a will that wants justice and wants things to be right, I will fight for justice. And so it really depends. I think sometimes it's like I can get to a point where I'm like up to here and now it's like, oh, now we gotta fight. But my desire, my truest desire is like, get out of here, like run away. do not deal with it. Avoid, abort, passively aggressively do some maneuver to get out of here, and maybe they'll know how you feel, but you kind of like, ugh. But I'm learning as I mature that you have to face things and you have to deal with it. It's not just gonna go away. That doesn't work. It really doesn't work. And so I'm learning how to fight, but in a peaceful way.
Oh, I've been so uncomfortable. Oh, cleaning out what's in these cabinets.
I was like, oh no, I don't think I'm good. You know, like, I don't think I'm good. And I hid it. I hid it from others. Even for a while, I almost hid it from myself. I'm grateful because I think these songs that are on here now are exactly what is supposed to be out. I think they're way more honest. The other ones were more religious, and I'm not talking about like godly. I'm talking about just religious and seeing things through a perspective that I think was very limited and like not real. I was still fronting. Like, I still didn't want y'all to know and hear and see all of the things that were going on. I'm still trying to be like your worship leader, you know? And this album is like me being his daughter. It's just me being his kid and being a human and being like your peer, you know?
If it adds more work to what I made, then I'd rather just eat all my meals on a paper plate. Throw it away. Oh, I never knew, no, I never knew why. I've always been so drawn to plastic.
I'm grateful now. I feel like I'm in a space where I'm actually open and vulnerable and asking the Lord to lead me. And I'm not just sitting in the room with my face on the floor. I'm actually out living life, and I can see, oh, got to work on that. Oh, you're still not fully healed in that area, you know? And before I used to think that that was a bad thing. And now I'm like, oh no, this is an opportunity for me to see God's grace in my life. This is an opportunity for me to grow. This is an opportunity for me to hand some things over to the Father that I've been holding on to tightly, or that I've tucked away secretly and even I forgot about. Jesus is like ripping up carpets like, ha, look at that.
So I'm trying to handle my heart in a healthy way. Don't want it to break. Oh, I never knew, no, I never knew why. I've always been so drawn to plastic.
I think that with knowledge comes a lot of responsibility. I feel like I had to unlearn like a lot of things and like look at myself, like really look at myself. Like me. I had to be real. And sometimes being real means that it's actually the judgment that you come up with in the end is like actually that, okay, you are the villain, which feels like it's mean, but it's not mean. It's honest. And then I think in looking at, well, how did you get to become the villain, you know? And then you realize, well, I did the best I could with what I had or with what I knew at the time. Or I didn't trust God. I didn't believe.
You see the worst of me. You see my ugly. But you think I'm beautiful. Why do you love me? Why are you so wonderful? I can't do you justice. Writing this song.
So I think that the story is not for everybody. I don't think everybody gets to be on the journey with you. I mean, realistically, let's say we're in a vehicle, like there's gonna be but so many passengers this vehicle can fit. I think me being, even like wanting to be vulnerable and wanting to be vocal about what I've gone through and my journey, I recognize that everything is not for everybody. I think what makes my story, that story is about my husband and I think it was at a moment where we were in a crossroads, like, hey, what are we actually doing? Let's look at our relationship. Let's see what we have here. Why can't we get to tell our story? Who are they to say that it shouldn't go this way? Baby, I believe it's a real good story. And who are they to say that it shouldn't go this way? Why can't we? Why can't we? I'm gonna do it again. I always overthink in the beginning. I wrote that song from a place of hope. Like, you know what? Things aren't perfect. Things have not always gone right. But I think that this is a good story. And I think that there's a shame in telling your testimony and telling the things that you've gone through, your struggles. And I was really just trying to write the song to him, basically saying like, hey, we shouldn't be ashamed of what we're going through. I think that we have to actually live this thing out, because our shame is causing us to pull back from it and not be honest about where we are.
Sometimes I wish the world could know all that we've been through. Yeah. You might think I'm brutally honest, but I'd risk it all for truth. And there's nothing more true than me loving you. Our story might be crazy, but maybe, baby, that's just one point of view.
It's hard to come out because I feel like there's a part of me that I'm not really a matrix person, but I'm like, I feel like I took the red pill. I think that's the one. And I woke up to a lot. And I think talking to people, interacting with people who haven't yet like come into the truth of it, it's kind of frustrating sometimes, or not frustrating, but difficult. Like Good Story, that song is not about really so much telling everybody. I think the telling is the living it. And I think the only way that we get through to the end is to actually live it out and be unashamed about it.
And who are they to say that it shouldn't go this way? Baby, I believe it's a real good story. So who are they to say that it shouldn't go this way?
People think that the length of time you've been married is a testament to the actual success of the marriage. And I don't believe that that's always true. There were things that I could only talk to God about. Nobody else really understood what I was going through. And the things I felt like I was too crazy to tell anybody else, you know, I could tell him, and I knew that God wasn't going to judge me. Who are they? Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like that is ultimately like, now I'm pissed actually. Like, not really mad. It's like you're pleading with the person you love, like, don't worry about anybody else. It's me and you know? Yeah. And so I could, if we comp like what we really love and then find that maybe I should say something a little different, I feel like I can go in and kind of say that.
So do we really like the beginning of this last one? The one you just played? No.
So yeah, I have a cousin who said to me once, she was like, my husband never sees my toenails like unpainted. Like, he didn't see me without makeup. And I was like, huh? I think if couples want to remain couples, and that could be a marriage, that could be a friendship, that can be a parental, you know, familial relationship. If you want to stay in a relationship, you have to be able to be unfixed up. If I'm honest, my husband and I have chosen to not really deal with things in the past and kind of not live it out and not even have a story to tell, because we've just wanted to be good. So we were silent and didn't deal with certain issues. But I think instead of fully dealing with our pain, our hurts, unforgiveness, and resentments, we've kind of just smoothed it over, like, okay, don't want any problems. Like, let's just wake up tomorrow and do it again, you know? And that wasn't healthy.
If they look a little closer, they might understand the way love works. Some things need no rhyme or reason. Sometimes love gets mixed up in life and it hurts.
I guess, like, I had to look at old mistakes and things I've done and almost judge it, but from a non-judgmental space. Like, rejudge it, you know? reassess and be kinder to myself than I think I had been in the past.
But if they look a little closer, they might understand the way love works. Some things need no rhyme or reason. Sometimes love gets mixed up in life and it hurts. Why can't we get to tell our story, babe?
I'm the person that can like talk about myself to myself like, oh girl, you know we not good, right? Yeah, don't tell her. You know, it's kind of like, okay, don't say anything, just keep going because you're just used to everything just working out. And I think for a moment I started to believe that, oh no, this doesn't have to work out the way that I always think it will. To me, writing the music was healing. Like after you accept, I can accept that I'm the damsel in distress, right? I can also accept that I'm an innocent bystander to some evil thing that has happened and hero comes in and saves the day. When you address the fact that you're actually the villain, like that's difficult.
Let me finish talking. Let me get this off my chest.
Recognizing that in some cases, not all, but in some, I am, and probably will be the villain in my life, was sobering. But I think the Lord has walked me through a lot of that with the music. He's allowed me to have the music as a way to heal.
Try to be happy for once. You deserve to be happy for once. I just want you to be happy for once.
Like that.
I just want
The end. Like that last chorus too. Yeah.
I think the other day I started listening to it again and I was like, okay, maybe I would want to lean in more, maybe, I don't know how I want to say it, but it's like kind of like slight adjust. Man, this is like a super vulnerable song, and so I'm grateful that you did it. And then the way that you scored it, I feel like it just added such beauty. Like I'm literally like a few seconds ago, I heard more and I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. I know we never really talked about like what you thought when you heard it. Even like, yeah, like all the thoughts. Like, what did you think? Even for me, even I did kind of give you a disclaimer, like it's different.
Right off the bat, I felt like very intrigued. I connected with immediately with how much of a story it is, and the talking, the inner you talking to you, definitely resonated with me, and that's why like there was a moment. It felt like I was scoring and not like, you know, especially in the worship world, like sectioning off things and here's a build and here's, but it's just like everything you were saying was, I just like had to treat that moment. That's kind of how I approached the whole thing. I could tell it was like a inner journey type song, and it was eye-opening to see that. Like I didn't expect that either.
If I'm honest, I think I've loved people before and I wasn't so great at loving myself, and because of that I would put myself last. And I think that I'm learning how to balance it out, because what I realize is that if I'm not good to myself, I'm not gonna actually be good for people. My friend was just saying, he was like, yo, I feel like this isn't like almost setting the stage for people to be prepared for you to even have a different sound. So so that's how I'm gonna do it first. I'm gonna try to stick as closely, because I know I sang exactly what I wanted to sing. Right. And I almost wanna capture like that same, like, I don't know, that same heart.
Yeah.
I wish you were see-through. I wish you could see me. Wish I could see you. Oh, I wish that I could free your mind. And sometimes I wish that we could just rewind time.
To talk to people
talk to them about?
Your music? You love your music.
Oh, God.
Hello, you worked on this for 6 years.
I think it's weird to walk in there with shades on.
Take them on.
No, I need them.
Yo, I can't even do it.
I mean, I know for me, when I was going through my depression, I leaned heavily on my mother. And I didn't even verbally say it, you know, like, I need help. You know, it was just like she stepped up and stepped into the place of like, oh, and I think that there's a way that our mothers just know. Our mothers just know, because I think they've gone through it and walked through it themselves.
I'm just trying to cope with the impossibilities I wish were possibilities. It's like I'm in a dream. I know you say
I don't think that I was a great mom during that time. I think when the kids came around, I would just act like everything was fine. I also found myself trying to be out of the house as much as possible to hide it. Yeah, I think when you have a strong support system, the kids don't feel it as much. They don't feel the shift as much. But I think there was definitely a noticeable shift. I don't think I was the best mom at that time. I don't think I was the best wife. I don't think I was the best friend or anything. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a lot of questions about this one. Like what it means, especially into Still Alone. I think what's funny is that like choosing myself is like definitely me talking to me and me having my moment, and I feel like people would be like, wait, what's going on? But I think most people can understand that I do feel most vulnerable about Still Alone, and I don't even fully know why. But I think it's probably because I'm around people all the time, and I think that I have really good relationships with people and I can connect with them. And so to still kind of feel alone, even with the people that you're closest to, is kind of sad.
The alone thing is kind of like being on a platform or performing or being, you know, at church just surrounded by like a congregation. It's so real to like, the Still Alone thing is like, and accepting and being okay with that after you're off of that, after you're gone, after you're back home or in your bed or wherever. It's like such a raw thing and real thing that I feel too at times, and you know, it's cool that you're accepting it and like presenting it as a song and showing people that you feel like that sometimes.
I'm a vault, keep it closed, hide the pain so nobody knows. Smiling and showing my teeth, I'm just deep in the misery.
I ask that question a lot. I'm like, Jesus, why? Like, why? Why do you love me? Why do you want me? Why did you choose me? Why did you bless me with this? Why did you give me these children? Why did you put me in this life? Like, I could be anywhere else, and it's nothing but, oh, you love me. There was a moment where I felt like I was unraveling, a moment where I felt like I couldn't even recognize myself. And I remember I was talking to my therapist. It had dawned on me, like, literally I felt like the Lord like broke a hole in my ceiling and shined the light down on me and was just like, Naomi, I love you. Naomi, I love you. I just love you. And me at the moment where I felt like this is the worst that I could be. This is the most unhinged and out of control I could ever be. I felt the overwhelming love of the Father. And I remember just sitting there telling her, I'm like, Jesus loves me. Like, God loves me. God is telling me that he loves me. And I couldn't say anything else except that is what I'm sure of. Like, I'm not sure of anything else. I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this. I don't know if people are going to love me. I don't know if my children are going to look back at this time and be happy or, you know, disappointed or feel like they need to go through years and years of therapy now because of what has happened. But I do know this. I know that God loves me. And that this journey has been me accepting that and believing that and knowing that from the bottom of my soul, I'm not confused about that one thing.
I'm choosing happy, the real me. I'm choosing the freedom I feel when I look in these eyes. Yeah, I'm choosing myself. Took a long time, but I'm choosing myself.
I've been able to see the evidence of God's willingness to take time with me. That in the moments where I feel like, child, toss me out. Like, it's literally, I'm on my last leg. I'm on like the last string. And God is like, no, I still want you. Like, I actually laid down my life so you can have life. I value my tenacity. When I was younger, I used to get talked about for my tenacity and my ideas and my willingness to see something to the end and not give up, because it almost felt like, all right, she's just stubborn. But I think now I value that fighting spirit, that thing that says, I'm not going to give up. I've heard about this Jesus. I've heard about these stories. I've heard about a God that stays and that brings people through. And I know it's not just a lion's den. It's also the mental torment and warfare that we go through. And so I think I'm grateful that I didn't give up and I didn't just give up on God.
Finally got a chance to catch my breath, think it over, and even if the pain don't end, I'm so much stronger.
I think that I have discovered who I am intrinsically. I'm still discovering what I like and how I'll continue to be. But I think that I've come to the end of this road when it comes to how I show up as a person. But I'm sure that I'll embark on other journeys, and I can even see some new things starting in how I relate to people and different relationships. I want us all to like go out and do something fun. We need trust building exercises. We gotta do trust falls. Let's do trust falls. Yep. But bigger people fall on smaller people. Let's really put it to the test. That's the type of trust falling I want to do. I think this was a really long journey for me, and it feels like I've come to the end of this. Like, I'm not confused anymore or unsure about what God has called me to do, like my purpose, and that He's chosen me because I am me, and He wants to use me, you know, as I am. But we're trying to really expand and grow on this tour. I don't want to go home and be the same way I was when I came. I want to be better.
It's not that. It's just, you know, some people don't have biceps.
No, I want to be better.
That's all I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the bicep ratio.
Better.
Like, okay.
Biceps versus better.
Amen.
We're going to be better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but of course.
You know, some of us might be injured, but, you know.
Like, that didn't end up
Yeah,
what
no.
I wanted to do.
What can we say? If you ask me, I would say like 98% of my days are good days. I think maybe other people listening to me would be like, nah, you don't sound like it's good. And I think there's still a part of me that still, that's it right there. I'm not accepting like that this day is bad because bad things have happened. I am alive. I am able to look at this sun and this sky. Like, I really believe that. And if I'm with people I love, even if we are in the middle of a storm, I'm like, you know, but let's play Uno, guys. You know, that's just the way I look at it.
Everything's made new. I'm learning to love again. I'm starting to breathe again. I'm
a little sad that Journey is over. I think there are parts of me that want to like keep it going.
Is that why you have an EP?
No, I have an EP because I can't stop singing these songs, and I wanted to make it. I don't know. Okay, so like sometimes when I make the music, I'm not done. You know, like I've done it, and this is like that one iteration. But as I'm listening to it, as we're mixing, as we're mastering, as we're listening to the final product, I'm like, oh, but I wish I would have done this, and I wish I would have done that. Don't hate me, Ty. Yo, I love this version. I am like 90% there. I love the simplicity of it, I think, and I love all the rewinds and all the stuff. I feel like it's amazing, perfect. There's just one thing. I think during that second chorus, after the second verse, I low-key want something. I don't know. I'm sitting here like trying to do it with my mouth. I don't know if it's something that feels like a little more movement, but not trappy.
I'm already a couple of steps ahead of you. So I had this one pad in there that you can't hear at all because I was like, well, I'm going to pull it out. So just in case she says she wants a little more, I'll just place it in there so where you can actually hear it. So I'm going to raise that up in the mix a little bit and then let me know what you think about that.
So for me, the EP is a way for me to sing the music live. Like, it's no secret that I'm a worship leader and I just enjoy singing music live. I love recording, but I think still that like live thing is still in me and a part of me. And I wanted to do these songs in a way that felt super like I was just singing it in the moment, you know. Did not prophesy it was going to. Slipping on the bass. Slipping on the bass. You know, I think I'm just living in brand new. I'm still there. It says everything that I would want to believe and say on my best day. You know, I think there are days where I'm back at child paper plates, convenience me. Like, you know, I just want to be back. Like, you know, sometimes I ain't ready, you know, and sometimes I'm choosing myself, okay? But I think, I think that brand new is, I think, my highest, the highest version of me, where I am and what I believe.
I made it through the fire. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing in. I made it through the sun. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing in. I don't know what's coming next. No.
I think the journey continuing means that I get to work through what the next chapters look like. And, you know, I got emotional just now because I started to think about a conversation I had with my dad last night, talking to him, and I didn't feel any discomfort. I was comfortable, and I know there were years of my life that I spent uncomfortable with my dad. And me going through this process and this journey, one day he called me and we really were able to just really forgive and let go and have a moment. And sometimes those moments seem like they're just that moment, but when you come out, it's like hurting your leg and limping, and then one day you're not limping anymore, and it's like, what? I healed? This is great. I think the journey continuing means that I get to have more restoration in some of my relationships and see the benefits of the healing that I've received, that as I go into future endeavors, that I'm no longer having to be quiet in the room and thinking like, they don't care what I think, or nobody wants to hear what I have to say, that I can actually speak up and be confident in it and not second guess and show up in a space as myself, you know?
So I'm choosing to live so secure, knowing this, Jesus, you're my happily ever after. Everything's brand new.
And I feel like that is the evidence of Christ.
I'm starting
like I want it to feel authentic. I was gonna say that. But I'm down to like put in the work to make sure things sound good.
I'm learning to love again. I'm starting to breathe again.
I'm not sitting up like that, like the dad going, Queen of Sheba. Hey y'all, so
It's weird that I think about it.
yeah, why am I up here? Yeah, you know, I just thought, you know, like what?
Everything's brand new. Oh, I'm starting to see again. I'm trying to live again. Everything's made new. Everything's made new.
Do you have any like hopes or expectations for today?
Hopes. I hope that my voice works the whole night, but I do really expect for God to have his way, for him to speak. I'm really expecting for God to show up. And that I'm excited about, like for people to experience him in a way they haven't experienced him before.
Open up.